Hi everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Today is the second video of a 4-part video of how to baste your quilt. Now last week we talked about store-bought spray baste, right? And a couple of things about that. Number one was the cost. I don't remember what I paid for the Walmart version. I want to say it's closer to 8 something than it is the 6 something I mentioned before. But then I spent $19 on 505. I learned since then that I can get it cheaper at Joann's, especially if I have a coupon, then we're really on the ball. But still, it's an additional cost. And today we're doing a homemade basting, okay? And to be honest with you, I think all of these ingredients here are going to be less than $1. I didn't do the math, so I can't tell you for sure, but everything here is really cheap. And things that you already have in your kitchen or your medicine cabinet, and if you don't, the cost is just really down compared to the spray basting that you buy from in a store-bought version, okay? So what kind of things are you going to need? We're going to need 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, a total of 3 cups of water, a cup of rubbing alcohol. That's all the ingredients that you're going to need as far as the mixture, right? But some other things that you may need is definitely a container that you can seal and shake and not worry about, you know, stuff coming out of it. So what I'm using a canning jar because I do can. But you don't have to have a canning jar, anything. I mean, it could be Tupperware, it could be a gravy shaker, anything that has a really good seal on it that you can do some shaking. I actually used a plastic bowl with a spoon. You're going to need a spray bottle to put everything in. Maybe a funnel if you're not using Pyrex with a little spout or a plastic bowl with a spout. If you don't have a whisk, you don't need to go out and buy one. I promise you a spoon will do just fine. You're going to need a pot and you're going to need your stove. Yep, I feel like I'm in a cooking show. This is almost like a dream come true because although I cannot cook to save my life, every time I watch cooking shows, I'm like, oh, I want to try and do that, right? So I'm kind of living a dream right now. However, we're going to make a homemade base with these items. So we're going to get started on this, and then I'll talk periodically through about different things because I think it's important. One of the things I do want to mention about the store-bought spray basting is that you needed to be in a well-ventilated area. I got a couple of things about this process that I'll be real transparent with you and we'll go through them, but let's just get started for now. So you have your pot. Now I have a towel here because I'm sure I'm going to make a mess, but this isn't normal, okay? What you want to do is you want to take 2 of the 3 cups of water. So we have 2 cups of water and we're going to pour it into the pot. All right. Yeah, I'm already making a mess. I can see it now. Then we take half a teaspoon of salt and we put it in with the water. I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. And then I'm going to turn my stove up to super high, the highest level, because I want it to boil. Once this salt water mixture is boiling, you want to turn it down to whatever setting your stove will handle a gentle boil, okay? I could say a medium, I could, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, but it just really depends on your stove because each stove reacts differently. So you want to bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, you want to reduce the heat to a gentle boil, okay? Then after that, you want to take your 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour and you want to put it in that mixing jar or whatever that you're using. You want to go ahead and put it inside there, because what we're going to do with the 3 to 4 tablespoons, oh boy, have I made a mess. 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour, and then I'm going to add a cup, the last cup of water. Okay? Now remember, my pot is at a gentle boil. So you want to get this container nice and sealed so nothing leaks, and then you want to shake up that 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour with that water. And you want to make it so that it's not clumpy. This is the whole purpose of it, is that we're not adding clumps to our gentle boiling of water. Once that is finished and you feel like it's good to go, you're going to want to pour it into the gentling boiling water. Take your whisk or your spoon and get it all mixed up. And with that heat, you want to keep stirring it and cooking it until it reaches a gravy consistency. It doesn't take long, it's just a few minutes, but it needs to be at that gravy-like consistency. All right, once it's at that gravy-like consistency, you want to pull it off the heat. So I'm pulling it off the heat. At that point, you're going to want to let it get to room temperature, okay? I will be honest with you, I poured it into a plastic bowl because I thought that, and remember, I'm not a cook, okay? So I thought that plastic would cool faster than glass, because I could have very much poured it into a glass container with a spout. But I wanted it to cool fast, but it did actually take 2.5 to 3 hours. During that time period, I noticed that there was a real thin layer of film that was developing, so it was kind of separating. So every now and again I would go and I would stir that mixture so that it wasn't separating. Okay, now I have poured it into this Pyrex, and I did this not because I needed to, it's just because I really wanted to know how much fluid was in here, because my spray bottle, this line right here is 22 ounces, which isn't quite 3 cups. 3 cups is 24 ounces. So I don't want to overfill this. So I wanted to know how much of this stuff I was pouring. And it actually says 2 1/8 of a cup. That is equal to, well, I got to do the math. So it would be 16 plus ounces. Okay. I have enough space in here that I'm not going to run out. Now this spray bottle, I don't know where Eric found it, because Eric went out and purchased it, but you can find them at Walmart, Target, you know, wherever. And you're going to use it over and over. So you just want something that's going to be large enough to hold all of your fluid. Okay. So once it's cool, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is pretty gravy-like. I mean, it is sloppy and goopy. and just kind of sticky. So at this point, I am going to take the lid off, put the, I have a funnel. You may want a funnel, like I said, you may want a funnel. Maybe even a, just having the spout on this Pyrex may do, but I'm just a little nervous. Of course, I will tell you my funnel is really skinny, so I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but I want to try it. And I'm doing it with you. And you want to pour this cooled down. Once it's cooled down, you want to, yeah, I'm making a mess. You want to pour it into the bottle. It's taking a little longer than I wish. But once this is all poured in, I'm going to add a cup of rubbing alcohol. And we're going to talk about that in just a second, because I do have some things to share about the rubbing alcohol. I am so sorry. Oh, this is a lot of fun though. I either feel like a scientist and I'm doing an experiment, or I am in a cooking show. All right. So once that's all poured in, yep. Then I want to add a cup of rubbing alcohol. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about rubbing alcohol. I will tell you, it doesn't, apparently, according to this recipe, which I want to tell you, I found this recipe with Chatterbox Quilting. Kim on there found it, and she said she found it through California Quilts. And if you go to the California Quilts website where she does her blogs, she said that she found this recipe on a quilting forum that a Mrs. Beasley posted on. Now, so I don't know where this really originated from, but this is where we're going, right? So the thing about this rubbing alcohol, apparently it doesn't matter if you're using 70%, 90%. There's another one. I think it's 50%. Apparently it doesn't matter. However, when reading the label on mine, which is obviously bought from Walmart because it's the Equate version, it's 91% that I'm going to be using here, and on the back of it, it does say use only in well ventilated area, fumes may be toxic. So this is a true story. So if you want to take the idea, now a lot of people are bothered by the smell of rubbing alcohol. Some people say it smells like a hospital. As a nurse, I used to work in a hospital. This kind of thing doesn't bother me. But it does bother a lot of people, and you know, they do say that the fumes can be toxic. If it bothers you, make sure you're in an open ventilated area. Well, that isn't helpful if we're talking about the difference between the store-bought spray based and this spray based, right? However, there are two other things that I have found. One of them is you can use vodka. So that will definitely take down the toxic fumes. And the other thing I found was on CVS website, they actually sell a non-scented rubbing alcohol. And when I read the label on the back, it actually doesn't tell you to be in a well ventilated area, and it's the same alcohol percentage. So that's the big thing about this. When it says 70%, it's 70% alcohol, right? Or 140 proof, I guess. That's the main thing that we're looking for. Alcohol evaporates quickly in the air, so it helps with the drying process. So you could, if this is bothering you and you don't want to be in an open ventilated area, you can buy an unscented version. I don't know how well it works. I don't know the differences. I didn't see any difference, but obviously there's no scent. And then you can also do vodka. That is a very popular alternative. So I just want to give that to you because this homemade spray based, it's pretty cool. And, you know, it's, you know, flour, salt, water, and some alcohol. It's not anything that is toxic to you, that you're putting in your environment, that you have to worry about animals, that you have to worry about yourself. Unscented or straight up vodka. Go to your liquor store. Get some cheap vodka. So we want to add a cup. Whoop, I told you I'd make a mess. We want to add a cup of rubbing alcohol. I'm going to attempt. Now see, the smell doesn't bother me. Being in this open room, I'm just not having any problems. I don't need to use the funnel with this spout. Once you add the rubbing alcohol or alcohol, you want to put the lid on. Get it nice and tight on your sprayer. And you want to give it a good shake. And guess what? Your spray baste is ready. So how to use it? I will tell you, it is very similar to the store-bought that I showed you last week, with a couple of differences. First and foremost, you want to lay your batting down first. Now, because none of these things are going to damage your wood floors, your carpet flooring, your dining room table, because none of this is going to be disturbance on that, you can actually just lay out your quilt or your ping pong table, as California quilters do, or quilting does. So you want to lay out the batting, and then you want to take your backing and then lay that out on top. And just like we did last week, you want to take half of your backing, fold it up. You want to spray this spray over top the batting and the backing. And you want to get it wet. Now, you're not going to saturate it, but you want to do a really good job about getting it wet. As you're pulling it back over the top of the backing over top of the batting, and you're smoothing it out, you want to make sure you're getting it really smooth. Now, your hands are going to get messy. But, again, it's flour, salt, water, and some rubbing alcohol. Just wash your hands. It's going to be okay. After that, you take the other half, you fold it back, and you do the same thing. Now, here is one of the cons of this homemade spray base. If you are on a time crunch, this is not the process for you. However, if you just have a quilt ready to quilt, a topper that's ready to quilt, and you need to put a sandwich together, you're not on a time constraint, I would encourage you to try this. But you get all of it sprayed, you get all of it smoothed out. You want to make sure the spray is going all the way out to the edges. You want to make sure that you are making That backing over top of your batting is really without wrinkles and it's smoothed out. And then ideally, you want to wait till the next day. So that's the con. It's time. Okay. There's a lot of moisture in here. So we need to let it dry. The next day, it should be dry. You take that batting in that backing and you flip it over so the batting is now on top. Then you take your topper and you lay it out on top, making sure it's all straight and ready to go. Again, do the same process. Pull it back halfway and spray, making sure that you're getting all the way to the edge. Now, I will tell you that some people speed the drying process by ironing. I don't have any desire to do that because it's goopy. So, and it's gonna come out on the edges of the quilt. So guess what else it's gonna get on? My iron. And I don't want to clean my iron, and it's high moisture, so I don't want to burn my quilt. It just makes me a little nervous. I just wait. I wait for it to dry and I deal with it. So that, yes, you can try to iron it, but just, I don't do it. So I just encourage you to be very, very careful. But once you have that top part spray based, really wet, all the way to the edges, smoothed out, both halves, you're going to let it wait another day. Then you can take it and you can free motion quilt, okay? Or walking foot quilt, or whatever it is that you're going to do to quilt your project. This is truly an inexpensive method. It's gluing all those pieces of your sandwich together. It works. And it's less expensive. And for me, I just did I don't have any problems with the rubbing alcohol that's not unscented. For me, I don't have a problem with it. But if you do, just know there's an unscented version and you can use vodka. Other than that, I mean, seriously, if you get overspray or some of the goop ends up on your floor or your dining room table or whatever it is that you're laying out your quilt with, it's going to dry with flour. So you just vacuum it up or wipe it up. It's not that big of a deal. Cleaning it up is not that really big of a deal. The worst part will be your hands, and you just have to wash them. So that is it. Well, that was a lot of fun. Like I said, I felt like I was in a cooking show. Tonight, I will be on Facebook, or not tonight, this afternoon. I will be on Facebook Live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to answer any questions you have. But feel free that if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. One of the things I do with Facebook live events after these videos, if there's something that I thought of that I didn't talk about, I will talk about them during the live event. So you can definitely, I would encourage you to tune in and see at least what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, I'll be there to answer them for you live. I've also created a PDF version of this recipe so that you can download it and keep it for you to make this over and over and over. And if you're interested, there's a link in the description below. Just give me your name and email and I will send it straight to you. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And next week, we'll do another method of basting. Like I said, it's a 4-part series, so we have 2 more to go. So I hope you stay tuned. I hope there's at least one of the 4 that you find that you can use besides pinning, because I don't like to pin. So until next time, may you continue to be inspired, productive, and joyful, and never stop making those dreams in quilting come true. Love y'all. Happy quilting. See y'all soon.